News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. I can speak without hacking my lungs and brains out, etc., 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 y'all. I had a nasty cold. I am back. I am alive. I am returned, rejuvenated after several days of nasty sickness from a nasty cold. Here I am, Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We're, of course, having Operation Stormwatch in effect. We're watching and breaking in anytime we need to throughout the night on the Chris Crock Show on WBAP. Meantime, an amazing story coming out of Denver. I'm going to play for you an exclusive from the sister station of WFAA TV Channel 8 here in DFW. Their sister station in Denver has an amazing report. They got some video behind the scenes of the chief, the chief political director, and also the, quote, newcomer. That's what they call their illegals in Denver. Newcomers. Hey! You're not illegal. You're a newcomer, just like the Biden administration. We love newcomers. So anyway, they're illegals. He tells them in Spanish, it's done. It's over. You ain't in the right place. We're going to pay for your ticket to get you out of here. This is exclusive behind-the-scenes footage. I'm going to play you some audio. And, in fact, I'm going to kind of play a big chunk of this whole report because a lot of it is me reading to you what they're saying in Spanish. So here we go. Here is the audio. You're going to be hearing it as I translate it for you, quote-unquote.
The opportunities are over. That's Andres Carrera, political director for Denver Mayor Mike Johnston.
New York gives you more. Chicago gives you more. So I suggest you go there where there is a longer-term shelter. There are also more job opportunities there.
Carrera is Denver's so-called newcomer communications liaison. That means that he meets the busloads of new arrivals. The city says this group got here on March 26, sent up by Texas's Republican Governor Greg Abbott. He warns them the jobs, the resources, the opportunities have already gone to the 40,000 migrants who came to Denver before that.
All right, here we go in Spanish again. We have received too many illegal migrants, and that is why we ran out of resources. No, look, we are not going to block you. Now, look, we're not going to block you if you want to stay here. I'm not here to block you. I'm not here to let you know. I'm here to let you know that your path is not over. If you stay here, you are going to suffer even more. I don't want to see this.
Parents listen quietly as children play on the floor. As Denver tells these families that have sometimes walked from one continent to another that they just have to keep moving. But they don't have to walk. Denver will buy them a bus ticket.
Your path has not ended. Your path has not ended. That you travel a little more. You don't have to walk anywhere. We can buy you a free ticket. You can go to any city. We can take you up to the Canadian border. Wherever.
The city says it won't buy bus tickets to Canada, but it will help migrants get to American border cities up north. It's a desperate pitch by Denver, a city that has taken in more migrants per capita than any city outside the southern border, and is looking at $120 million in budget cuts to pay for migrant services. The moment of truth.
All right, now the moment of truth is what we're going to hear coming up next at 8:15 on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. But right now I want to ask you a few questions on this. I love this. This makes me laugh. I love this. They're trying to pawn off their illegals who wanted to go to Denver and entice them to send them to the freaking border of Canada. Dump them on another country. They want to dump them in Chicago y también en Nueva York. They want to dump them in other sanctuary cities that say they can't handle it even more. They're lying to the illegals, aren't they? They're lying to them. They're saying Chicago will give you more. Chicago says we're out. They're screaming about it, the people that live there. And so the same thing in New York. And this guy's lying to him, saying they want you there. They'll take you there. Your journey is not done. We have nothing for you here. If you stay, you will suffer. You will suffer if you stay here. Now, as hard as this sounds, don't you love hearing this? As difficult as this may sound to people who are tired, etc., but they have no legitimacy here. They have no business here. So they need to get out of here. But while they're here, they need to sit in the swill of these sanctuary cities that say they want them. And they can rot, as far as I'm concerned, there. Because they are not legitimate asylum seekers. They are not newcomers. They are illegals. So as hard as it may be to hear this, is this exactly the kind of thing you want to be hearing at this sanctuary city and in other sanctuary cities across America? And number two, does this make you want to keep sending more of Joe Biden's illegals to Denver and other sanctuary cities like this? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP, that's 800-288-9227. Chime in right now on the Chris Crock Show. Lines wide open for you on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. So honestly, I think this is great. I love it. And I was so surprised to see this and excited to see this. And I'm glad they smuggled this out. This is a black eye for the city of Denver, saying, hey, we're a sanctuary city. We love our illegals, but saying, if you stay here, you will suffer. I told you this was going on. I told you about this. I played you audio of a Venezuelan man who had a yardstick and he was trying to poke an apple and coax it to roll over to the fence that it's behind. But they have these pens where they pen off the food they have for the illegals, and the illegals are starving in the streets of Denver. They're in tents everywhere because they don't have any more room for them. Good, send them more. This is what they wanted. This is what the Democrat Party and their head, Joe Biden, is doing to them. Enjoy your mess. And none of these illegals are avoiding, persecution because of their politics, persecution because of their religion, persecution because of anything. They don't qualify for any asylum, and everybody knows it. They're here illegally, and I think this is brilliant and wonderful, and I would like to see this continue to happen, and I think Denver needs a lot more illegals. What do you say? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Lines wide open for your call. Coming up next to the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM 93.3. Who wants to stay in Denver? This is the moment of truth. Who wants to stay in Denver? You're going to find out how many of them raise their hands and say, I want to stay here, after they've been told you're going to suffer. If you stay here, you're going to suffer. We have nothing for you. How many of them say, okay, I'll take the free bus ticket to Villeta, Canada, to the border of Canada, where you can dump me off in another country, or to Chicago, y también al Nueva York. I'll tell you, coming up next to the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM 93.3. Lines right open for you. As hard as it may be to hear this, is this the kind of thing you want to be hearing at sanctuary cities across America? And does this make you want to keep sending more of Joe Biden's illegals to Denver and other sanctuary cities? That's next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM 93.3. Make it a preset. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make that a preset, y'all. Chris Crock Show, back from the bed, the sick bed, as it were, watching the severe weather as it happens, and of course breaking in whenever we need to on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Meantime, 800-288-WBAP is the number, 800-288-9227. This new video caught on tape from the affiliate from WFAA TV Channel 8 in Denver, warning illegals to leave, saying that if you stay here, if you choose to stay here as your last destination, you're going to suffer. They literally told them that in Spanish. I read it to you in the translation. And then the moment of truth comes, as the television news outlet in Denver says, the moment of truth, when this man, who is the mayor's chief political strategist or political director, who also is in charge of the illegals, they call them newcomers, just like Joe Biden does, the newcomer communications liaison, I love this stuff. These names they come up with for their illegals, and they're friends of illegals. We are your friend, illegals. We love you. Anyways, hello, welcome to Denver. If you stay here, you're going to suffer. Isn't that a welcoming committee? Hey, if you stay here, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer, and you're going to die. Ah! Okay, maybe I added that last part on. As hard as it may be to hear this, is this the kind of thing that you want to be hearing at sanctuary cities across America? And does this make you want to keep sending more of Joe Biden's illegals to Denver and other sanctuary cities, as it does me? 800-288-WBAP is the number, 800-288-9227. So they're told you're going to suffer. They're told if you're a new illegal migrant, you can stay in city shelters for 2 weeks if you're an individual. If you're a family with children, you can stay for 6 weeks. And then we throw you into the streets where you cannot work and you cannot do anything. And you will starve with the other illegals. And so what happens? Here's the moment of truth that I promised from this television station with their caught on tape behind the scenes audio of this man telling the illegals, okay, we're going to pay for your bus ticket. We can send you to the border of Canada. We can send you to Chicago and New York. They have a lot more resources, which New York or Chicago. If New York or Chicago were there, do you think they'd be saying, yes, we have more resources for you? Or would they be saying no? They'd be saying no. But the question is, as hard as it is to hear this, is this the kind of thing you want to be hearing at sanctuary cities across America? And does this make you want to keep sending more of Joe Biden's illegals to Denver and other sanctuary cities? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Lines wide open. You can chime in right now. Here we go. Here's the moment of truth. Do they take the bait and say, we'll take a ticket and we're leaving because we don't want to suffer, or do they stay?
Who in the crowd wants to go to a different city?
He says, okay, in Spanish, who wants to travel to different cities where there is more work? Oh, he's lying to them about that too.
And who wants to stay in Denver?
And which one of you wants to stay here in Denver?
Todos, a migrant says. Everyone.
Everyone's staying! Yay! They're all staying! You scared the crap out of them. You're gonna die. Oh, you're gonna suffer. Ooh. They should get actors from the Denver Repertoire Theater to come out in rags and dirt rubbed on their faces and be like emaciated, like gruel, and be like having a bowl of gruel. This is what they feed me. I am sorry. Yo soy tan pobre. I'm very poor. Tengo mucho hambre. I'm very hungry. Right? Por favor. Start begging the illegals for money. Tiene usted dinero para mi niño. You can have a little baby there, a little baby actor. You know what I'm saying? I like this. I'm digging it. What do you say? Who's in with me? I love this. I think this is great. And more of this, please. So I would like to I hope Governor Abbott sees this, and I would like to say, can we order up some more busloads of illegals to send to Denver, please? They're going to have to start having professional actors come out and act like they're people that are starving and say, this is who you're going to be next. We're starving. Help us. Like solicit the illegals as they arrive. Please, we need money. We're starving. All right, coming up next, Rashid Rice. It's a name I wasn't familiar with until today. The anger I had when I saw a Lamborghini and a Corvette fly around the left shoulder of a road that many of us travel every day, me included, for work and for church, fly around there and just slam into cars needlessly at 6:30 in the afternoon on Saturday afternoon because he wanted to race, according to what the authorities are saying, if he in fact was in that car. All that coming up next, and he's lawyered up. All that next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. Okay, so we've all seen this by now, this crash and it's on a road that many of us in the Metroplex, I know half of the Metroplex, or almost half of it, doesn't travel on Central Expressway too often. For some, it's on 35E. For some, it's on 35W. For some, it's at on 820. Some others, it's on LBJ, George Bush. Doesn't matter. Dallas North Tollway. Doesn't matter. But the point is, on a road that a lot of us commute on every day, I go to work half the time, to and from work on 75. The other half of the time, I'll take the Dallas North Tollway or a combo thereof. But I also tend to go to church on Sundays down 75. So this could have been on a Saturday afternoon. This could have been my family, easily. And we've come up on Saturdays and such. Can you imagine in the middle of the day at 6:30, you and your family just driving along, everything's fine, and then suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, a black Lamborghini flies into the side of your car, barreling in at 10 or 15 or 20 miles an hour past what you are going, but just flying into the side of your car as you're going straight on a major highway in the Metroplex. Can you imagine moments before that being the person behind them and seeing them come around you on the shoulder of the road, racing a Corvette, racing a Lamborghini, acting like there's nobody there, and they're at Texas Motor Speedway racing each other? But it's surrounding you and your family. All of us see this all the time, don't we? Doesn't matter if you're in Tarrant, if you're in Denton County, Collin County, Dallas County, etc. It doesn't matter. All of it, we all see this, don't we? Idiots flying on the road like they own it. Motorcyclists, cars, etc., racing each other. I see this crap all the time. This has not been the normal before. This must be a social media thing too. Okay, so yeah, we just confirmed that it's a second-degree felony if you leave the scene of an accident. So all this getting to the fact that Rashee Rice is a star Kansas City Chiefs player, and he was in that Super Bowl that we all watched. And he apparently went to high school in Richland High. He's a former Richland High star and then an SMU star. Now, of course, he's with the Chiefs. That car, or both cars, apparently were being leased or rented by him. And they literally couldn't even wait till nighttime when people like me are coming home from work after midnight. And I see this crap all the time, like a lot more than I see it. But during the days, I mean, it's horrible to happen at any time. This is not your freaking raceway. We should nail these people. Nail them. And to see that Rashee Rice was, according to the police, they're investigating him as being one of the drivers of this car, one of these two cars, the Corvette or the Lamborghini, that flew over and went on the side of the road and then hit the median, then flew into cars in the far left lane, the middle lane, the far right lane, wiped out 6 cars, hit 6 cars, and abandoned their cars. Abandoned the Lamborghini and abandoned the Corvette and fled on foot, apparently. And in our state, it is a second-degree felony to flee a hit and run and do a hit and run and to leave the scene when somebody has been hurt or there's a serious kind of crash, whatever it is. I don't know all the specifics of it. It's a felony. I want us to nail this guy. This is the kind of thing that I want nailed, because we see this all the time. How many of us are sick of white knuckling it because of jerks, to say it nicely, are flying around us and risking our lives with kids in the car, or it doesn't matter if it's just me in the car. I want to go home to my wife, and my wife wants me to come home to her. So I want this guy nailed. I want this guy nailed if he's in this car. He's lawyered up already, and he's got Royce West the most powerful state senator in Texas, who's been in his chair for decades and decades. He's lawyered up with Royce West, and Royce West says his thoughts are with everybody impacted. His thoughts, really. Where were his thoughts when he is accused of fleeing? Whose were his thoughts with then? Looks like his thoughts were, if that was him in the car, himself. Oh, his thoughts are with everyone, says Royce West. He hasn't had the manhood to speak out in a minute it was him, if it was him. But his thoughts are with everyone impacted by the automobile accident on Saturday. Yeah, my butt. His thoughts are with himself and his wallet and his license and his reputation and his NFL gig. That's where his thoughts are. And then he also says, his attorney, Royce West, says Rasheed is cooperating with local authorities. Yeah? Is that what running away from the scene looks like? Cooperating, if that's him. He's cooperating with local authorities. He will take all necessary steps to address the situation responsibly. Yes? You mean like staying there and saying, this was me, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot? No. After the situation, apparently he wants to address this, and he thinks about others, and he wants to handle it responsibly. Yeah. So the questions are at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you want severe punishment for whoever was in both of those two cars, the Corvette and the Lamborghini? Should they face even worse punishment for leaving the scene of the crime without helping any victims or calling even 911? And finally, if the Chiefs' Rasheed Rice was one of these drivers involved, should the NFL punish him severely? I sure as heck want all of it. Yes, to the umpteenth degree. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, I'm going to give you more details on this story that we have and what the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chiefs president, what he said in an interview on one of our sister stations in Kansas City this morning. I'll tell you what he said about this. Coming up next, maybe he talked about Rasheed. Maybe he says what he knows about the case. I'll tell you what he said. All that's coming up next. Plus your call at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you want severe punishment for whoever was in both those vehicles? And should they face even worse punishment for leaving the scene of a crime without helping any victims or calling 911? And if the Chiefs' Rasheed Rice was one of these drivers, should the NFL punish him severely? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. As I said, you hear what the Chiefs president said this morning on their local talk show. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chris Crock Show, back from the sick bed, y'all. Okay. Okay, where were we? Yes. So, the Chiefs president was interviewed this morning, Mark Donovan, on our sister station in Kansas City, KCMO, and he urged patience. Sounds like what a general manager would say, some vague thing that doesn't answer questions. He says, in all these situations, you have to wait until you have all the facts, and frankly, we don't all have all the facts at this point. Well, I think it's pretty easy, dude. Did he do it or did he not do it? And how much you want to bet he knows that? But he just doesn't want to say it. Oh, wow. My producer Garrett tells me the Chiefs have a, quote, bad history of people getting in trouble. Yeah? They can't be as bad as the Cowboys. Aren't they legendary in this case? In these cases? Who's worse than the Cowboys? Are we really sure we want to be comparing the be in Dallas and be judgmental? No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to be judgmental of this. This is insane. This is not okay. We see this crap all the time on our roads. And every time this happens, we need to nail them. Remember, we've had this stuff go on and off for years. We have had the city of Dallas literally had they probably still do have a unit that works with the chopper Dallas One up in the skies to track these people down and nail them, particularly the ones who shut down streets and do dangerous stunts on the road and stuff like that. This crap happens all the time. and it's not acceptable, and it could kill one of us. And in this case, it almost did. And what's really, really, really bad about this is that they fled. Both drivers fled. One of them is accused of being Rashee Rice, the Chiefs superstar. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you want severe punishment for whoever was in the both of those cars driving it, the Corvette and the Lamborghini that slammed into 6 different cars and sent 2 people to the hospital, and 2 others were treated on scene and then let go? But there were 2 people driving 2 vehicles that were racing that crashed and flew into the wall, the what do you call it, the median, and then bounced off and went into like 2-3 lanes of traffic, hitting 6 total cars, and then fleeing on foot, apparently, from what I can tell in the video. So the Chiefs president says, in all these situations, you have to wait till all the facts come out, and frankly, we don't have all the facts at this point. The one comforting fact we do have is there was a multi-car crash in Texas, in Dallas, and fortunately, it doesn't appear that anybody was hurt, and we should be grateful for that. Like you give a frog's fat you-know-what. The only thing you care about is your bottom line. That's all you care about. You're grateful nobody got hurt worse than that, because it means less scrutiny on you and your players. So you can sweep this along and continue to have your players play and make you the money you want them to make you and get you another ring. He goes on and says, we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll gather the facts and we'll react accordingly. Yeah! Like, is everybody in the room, like, does everybody in the room know what happened, but we're not allowed to know the truth yet? Other than Rashee Rice has an attorney. And then for like 3 days they were looking for him. And because it was reported that one of the cars was registered in his name, or perhaps both of them. I mean, this is pathetically obvious here, but nonetheless, that's where we're at right now. And my answer is absolutely, I want them to crack down very hard on this guy if he was driving one of these cars. I want him to be charged with that 3rd-degree felony, which is bodily injury, leaving the scene of an accident. And this wasn't an accident, by the way. I want you to understand what this was, because any good attorney or any good person or drunken driving or reckless driving advocate for people that do these horrible things or stupid things will tell you this wasn't an accident. An accident is not when you intentionally are street racing in the middle of 6:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon. That's not an accident. That is an intentional crash that you chose. You chose to drive hazardly, causing the crash. That's not an accident. You are the reason it crashed. Your decision to drive recklessly, that's why the crash happened. It is a crash, not an accident. An accident is when you're doing what you should be doing and something happens. A simple human error. This was reckless driving to the umpteenth degree that led to bodily injury and people going to the hospital and fleeing the scene of a crime, which it was. It's a 3rd-degree felony. So we got to prosecute this guy if he's guilty of this. If he's accused of it and guilty of it, he should be arrested and charged as such. I don't care who he is. I don't care who his lawyer is and how powerful his lawyer is. Coming up next on the Chris Kroc Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We have these, this is quite a story, actually. These pro-Palestinian protesters that you and I see every day acting like fools. And being pro-Gaza, which in most cases also means pro-Hamas. Not in all, but in most. And they're blocking, we've seen this in New York City, we've seen this in Los Angeles, we've seen this all over in Chicago and such. But have we seen it much here? Not too much, but it's happening here. They blocked when Joe Biden was here, they blocked the entrance to Love Field. So people like you and I were showing up, like I did a couple weeks ago, to drop off my son for his Japan trip. He's doing fine there now after 2 weeks of being there. And they could be blocking us. So anyways, that's illegal. They were arrested. Some of the women that were in this protest were wearing hijabs. And they were shocked to find out that they were told you have to remove your hijab for your booking photo. They were shocked. And after that, You can imagine what happened. I'll talk about that next with you on the News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make that a preset, y'all.